Hey guys, welcome back to our quadruplet birth story series. This is the second part, and so if you haven't watched the first one yet, please go back to our previous video and watch it.
So this is part number 2. This is a very important piece of the puzzle.
Yes.
This is a very interesting story. This is the day that we found out that they were quadruplets.
Yes.
We didn't realize it, but a lot of prayers were answered that day. My stepmother and father had been interceding that something miraculous happened to save our marriage and save our journey in life. And so
I guess when the Lord wants something done, he's gonna
do it his way.
Yeah.
He's gonna do it the way he wants to do it. Because this is not the way that I expected to see it.
No.
But it definitely...
I think neither one of us expected it this way.
No, but I will say that our marriage has never been better.
Yeah.
I think the purpose, we don't quite realize all of it yet, but we definitely see some fruit from that tree. But this was this is a very important day to our 9-year-old daughter. Mm-hmm. It was Halloween Day.
It's
2000, the favorite holiday. 2022. This day is always supposed to be all about her. You know, getting candy. She gets to dress up. She gets to see friends, and our church always has a booth there where we go trick-or-treating, and it's just supposed to be a fun day that was going to be all about her. But cut to our world was
flipped upside down
that day.
We went into our first ultrasound appointment.
Yeah.
And I don't have a video because I was not expecting multiples because I am not known to have multiples.
Nope. Not expecting it
and
one bit.
So,
not even a thought.
We went in, of course, like they're starting to ultrasound, and you know, they have like a big, huge screen like in front of you, and like I'm laying this way, right? It's a big TV screen, and then the ultrasound tech is right here, you know, doing the whole thing. And so, me being in the vet world, y'all, I knew multiple placentas. I knew that because I've seen it on ultrasounds with like dogs, cats. I've seen it on x-rays, you know, like I'm very familiar with this kind of things. And also I have a singleton that will be 9 next month. And so I know like with her that there is only one like sac placenta. Yeah. Saw the 2 placentas, and I was like, the ultrasound tech wasn't really saying anything yet. Nope. And so I was like...
Which is really strange, because usually they'll be like, oh, there she is, or there they are. There's your child, there's your baby.
Anything.
This ultrasound tech was very quiet.
Very, very quiet.
And was like, how's everybody doing? And, yeah, we're doing great. And
at this point, I'm like sweating, y'all.
She's searching. I thought something maybe had been wrong. Because I don't know anything about multiples or anything like that. So
she's searching for the babies, right? I asked her if it was twins, and she didn't say anything. And so I'm like, minor, like little mini freak out going on right now, right? Because she's still not saying anything, y'all. And I'm like, is it triplets? And she's still not saying anything. And like at this point, I'm like starting to semi-hyperventilate because like she's not telling me anything. And then at this point, I look over, and Michael has his hands on his head already. And I'm like starting to panic. And she puts her hand on my knee, y'all, and she says, there's 4. What? There's 4?
She started crying hysterically. I'm talking about could not be consoled. No. I was laughing hysterically. I didn't really like... I didn't think that it was real life. I thought we were living in some kind of fantasy world, and I didn't understand what was happening. All I could do was laugh. And then the ultrasound tech, she asked if it was hot in there. And I mean, nobody at this point, we were not paying her any attention. And she calls in the doctor, and typically you don't see the doctor the first ultrasound. It's pretty cut and dry. So he goes in, and he
He asked me, he's like, are you sure you weren't on any fertility drugs? I'm like, yes. I literally came off of my birth control like 8 months ago.
It was pretty interesting. He came in and confirmed that it was 4.
I literally thought I was going to pass out or throw up at one point. In the last video, I brought up how I was going on a missionary trip to South Africa, and y'all, like, that was my dream. I've always wanted to go to South Africa. I knew that the Lord told me one day that I would go to South Africa, and I really thought that this was it. And I was supposed to be leaving in 3 weeks. 3 weeks on the dot, y'all. I only, like, got myself together and was like, I'm supposed to go to South Africa. Am I going to go? And he said, nope. Okay. He said I would cancel that trip.
Yeah. Take us from the ultrasound room to a separate room. Yes. And when we go out into the hallway, you see all the nurses
peeking.
They turn their head and they're peeking down the hallway. So everybody knows what's going on. So
this is like a small little OB office.
It is a small office.
Like a small little office, like right outside of our city.
Yeah, so they take us into that room and the nurse, I mean, you can tell she's probably been there a while. She was an older nurse, and but you can tell that this was totally new for her as well, and she didn't really know how to react. She brought in all the normal paperwork.
I don't really remember a whole lot about that part of it. I just remember her asking me, are you going to have, if it's a boy, like if they're boys, are you going to have them circumcised? And yes, but I'm not even thinking about that right now. Like, I'm thinking about the fact that, like, you just told me that I'm having quadruplets.
And we're in that room, and Hannah's, and they're trying to tell us all this information, and Hannah and I are just blank pages.
I'm not receiving nothing.
We're not hearing none of this. We don't really know what to do.
And they moved us to an actual, like, exam room where, like, you see the doctor and talk to the doctor.
He said, we're not going to be able to take care of y'all here. You've got 2 options. You can either go to Huntsville, or you can go to UAB. And he said, I guess me being the father, he was like, if it were my family, I would have my wife going to UAB. And that's what we did. We chose UAB, and they set up an appointment. And but all that information that they were trying to tell us that day,
I can't even tell you.
I mean,
I really can't.
I know that we got medication for Hannah's extreme nausea. That's all I can remember. Yeah. They gave us a bunch of Bongesta and threw us out the door. We get in the car, and the first thing that we talk about is we've got to go see our pastor. Yeah. We've got to get counseled through this, because our whole world was
turned upside
down. And I will never forget it. On the way to our pastor's office, I listened to his song, I don't know how you'll make a way, but I know you will. And I didn't see the way. Mm-mm. I didn't see the way how this was going to work. I didn't see what God was doing, and I knew that it was God, but man, it was, I knew that she would not be able to work, and I work in ministry, so we don't make a lot of money. So I just didn't see how this was going to work at all. So I needed the Lord to intervene, and we met with our pastor, and
so I'm still crying, y'all. Like, I did not stop crying at all. I just remember saying, there's 4.
We needed that visit because we needed to be encouraged. Pastor Chris, he gave us a lot of encouragement, and he told us that nobody was more equipped than we were, even though we looked at each other and we didn't feel like we were equipped. We have a 1,200 square foot home, and we both had jobs, and we've got a daughter that we're having to do homework with every night. We didn't feel equipped, but he just knew that this was going to bring us closer together, that this was going to build us to be even better people than we were, and he knew that the Lord was going to provide everything we needed. One thing he told me is that I was going to see the Lord's provision in a way that nobody else would see. We were going to see incredible miracles because of the circumstances that we were in, and he was not wrong. Yeah, we've seen incredible things all the way from that day till now. We have seen so many miracles.
You know, one of the biggest things that, you know, that I had to walk through during all of this was, you know, that everything in my life was about to change. Like, I loved what I did at the vet, and I knew that that would have to be different for me, and, you know, that I would have to be a stay-at-home mom, and I'm not stay-at-home mom material, y'all. Now we're, like, trying to get all of our emotions together, because we're not going to tell our daughter yet, for just in case. You know, there's just, like, a bunch of stuff that was going on, and so we just didn't want to tell her until we knew that it was going to be like a for sure thing, because one of the things that he did tell us is that when having multiples, like, you are at a higher risk of something happening. And, you know, I was only 9 weeks whenever we found out that it was quad. We just really wanted to wait until the babies were more developed before we told Emily, because she's always wanted to be a big sister.
Next, we got referred to UAB, the Women and Infant Center there, because it was now considered a high-risk pregnancy.
Extremely high risk.
Yeah, so we go there.
I think it was like 4 or 5 days after. Oh, actually, no. It was 3 days after, because that was on a Monday, and then I believe Wednesday, I was in. UAB was like, you need to come in.
Yeah.
And so...
Yeah, they were pretty eager to see this.
Yeah.
So we get to UAB, and the ultrasound tech, she had never ultrasounded quadruplets. She said that she had done a lot of triplets. They see triplets all the time, but they don't really see quadruplets a lot. So we were in the ultrasound, and they got the heartbeats of all the babies, and they were able to, she wasn't able to tell us what gender they were.
No, not yet.
No, that was still really early. When you go to the Infant and Women's Center, there's 2 parts of it. There's fetal medicine, and then there's maternal medicine. So that day, the ultrasound, that was a part of the fetal medicine, but then we went to the maternal side. After that, we had 2 appointments. Every single time we went, we had a fetal appointment, we had a maternal appointment.
I think I was still basically in shock. But he had came in and he had said, well, I would just want you to know that you're having 2 sets of identical twins. And I was like, what? You know, in my mind, I was like, there's no way.
Yeah.
You know, of course, like, we're back now to the, I can't believe this is real thing.
Yeah. So by law, the doctor said that they have to present us with, an opportunity to do something called risk reduction. So that's when, I mean, really, basically, that you abort some of the babies to ensure the health of the others. We knew that that wasn't in God's plan for our life. We knew that there was a reason why he gave us 4, and we were going to trust him to be able to carry them all the way and deliver us 4 beautiful babies. So we denied that option,
and then he went on to tell us that each baby had a 50% chance of survival. And so I just
kind of
remember,
stung a little bit.
Yeah,
that kind of stings when they tell you that it's only 50% chance that they live.
Even after that, I was like, you know, the Lord gave us these babies, and so it'll be him who takes them away if he wants them to be. We held on to that, and you know, it was a lot to take in that day. And, like, our very first like major like high risk appointment. I had went to work the next night, and I was driving home at like 4 a.m, and you know, like, I just couldn't believe my life, y'all. Like, I had all these different emotions, and you know, I was listening to worship music because, you know, if you're a Christian, like, you know that worship music will change your atmosphere no matter what. I was listening to Here Again by Elevation Worship. I don't know, I just felt the Lord, y'all. It was so crazy. I had to pull over because I was, like, hysterically crying again, like, ugly sobbing snot coming out of my nose, like, could not see in front of me. It's dark because it's, like, 4 a.m, and so, but in that moment, whenever I pulled over, I was just like, why is this happening to me? Like, I was screaming and crying, and, you know, like, I got out of my car, and I was, like, just yelling at God because I was just mad. And then instantly, he told me that all my babies were going to make it.
Amen. God.
I didn't know how, didn't know why, but I knew that they were.
Yeah.
And so it was just like a real surreal moment for me, you know, because you're having all these doctors tell you that they're just not going to make it. And so, yeah.
That was something we held on to for a long time. I also had an instance where he told me that everything was going to be okay and that they were all four going to be healthy. And we held on to that throughout the entire pregnancy, throughout all of the struggles. And part 3 coming up next. We're going to talk about all those struggles and all the things that we had to face and the appointments that we had to go to and the things that the doctors were saying and then what the Lord did and bringing them safely home to us. Tune in, hit the notification bell, subscribe, just check in with us. The next video is coming soon. Thank you guys.